Montana, thanks for talking with us today about inclusive practices.
Thanks for having me, Sean.
So, what were the three things that you learned in inclusive practices that you considered the most important or useful?
The first thing that I learned is that inclusive practices is everyone's responsibility. It's not just the teacher's responsibility or the student's responsibility. The second that I learned was the amount of student support services that are available to help you implement inclusive practices. You don't have to do it all by yourself. You can speak to your manager, the student itself, other teachers or support services. The third thing that I learned was the amazing array of different inclusive practice strategies that you can implement. Inclusive practices are not only about reasonable adjustments for students' assessments, but also universal design and group work and collaboration.
Great. So, what's the new strategy that you included recently that made a positive difference?
I actively talking to my students to discuss not only their needs for reasonable adjustment, but also why they enjoyed the course, what they've struggled with, and what we can implement in general to improve things not only for them but for future cohorts. We did this in two forms, group discussion and surveys.
Excellent. So, what makes that strategy inclusive and what difference did it make for the students and the staff?
Well, I did this with two different cohorts, and what amazed me was it worked the same for both of them. Both groups really enjoyed it because they felt like we were taking an active interest in their needs, ideas, and suggestions. Also, the suggestions that we were given from the student are going to help make the course more enjoyable and attainable for them. The difference that it made for staff was that they were better able to understand the students in a way which makes educating them successfully a bit more easier for us, as well as improving their overall program for future cohorts.
Oh, that sounds excellent. So, has this new strategy provided ideas for any other changes you'd like to make?
Well, I'd permanently like to implement this strategy. However, I'm not sure about exactly how to do it. I suppose it's going to depend on the individual cohort. So what I'm thinking about doing is implementing the trial of a suggestion book. This will mean that our more quiet students who are a bit more reserved will have their opportunity to make their suggestions and needs known in a confidential way.
Great, that sounds awesome. Thanks very much, Montana.
Thanks for having me.